Hello filmmakers, it's Kerry with Filmmaker Central. We've got a nice big box here. It's this big. I mean, it doesn't fit on the screen. What could it be? Well, it's from GVM, so you know it's going to be pretty good. Stay right there. We'll be right back. All right, well, what do we have in this big old package here? This is the GVM BD45R tube light. And there it is. It's your basic lightsaber kit. In here, we've got power cords, chargers, and 2 batteries. So let's pull this thing out and talk about it. All right, so we have a nice long tube light. See if I can get the whole thing on the screen. This thing's huge. This is super cool. Got 1/4-20s on both ends. Okay, simple enough there. It's got, basically, I believe this would be an Arca Swiss in the middle with a 1/4-20 and a 3/8 over here. It can run off 2 Sony NPF style batteries or 12-volt power, or I think it's 12-volt power. I'm not sure, but it has its own power supply that will go into here. Now these 2 ports on the end over here that look like Cat 5 are, well, that's your DMX control. So you could run this with a DMX controller and you can go in one side and out the other. So that's pretty cool. Let me switch this thing around so I can see the displays properly. Okay, over on this side, we have all the controls. We've got an on-off, plus minus, tab, and mode. Pretty simple controls. I'm gonna trying to arrange this thing because there's an awful lot of weight on the far side over here because of the batteries, and I wanna use the control over here. So we turn on the control, it lights up, says GVM, and it goes to the last setting that it was on. Now, right now it's on intensity 100, color temperature 5600, and the intensity is highlighted. So I can just use the minus and drop it down to 0. We'll give it like 6. It just barely comes on. So pretty cool the way that works right there. Then you have different modes, FXs, wireless control. This can be the master or the slave, and color temperature controls. GVM is pretty darn good with their interfaces, but I'm going to go ahead and go to the GVM app. We see the GVM Pro BD45R, so we'll go to that, and pretty simple controls here on the screen. Let me tilt this so you can see it. Let's bump up the intensity. We can play with the tint a little bit. We can go to 2700 Kelvin or over to 10,000 Kelvin. Super fast, very, very responsive. We can turn it off, we can turn it on, pop it in real quick. It's got presets for 3200, 4300, and 5600. We can save these preferences so that we can keep presets. So that's color temperature. RGB mode, very basic here. We can go to blue, we can go to green, we can go to yellow, we can go to reds, change the intensity value. Again, very, very simple, very easy to use. Change over to the slider, bring up RGB values, make it any color that we want. Again, we'll go back to HSI, very similar. We can just wheel around here to get the exact color that we want. Go to a color picker, so we could pick up that color, and it should be pretty close to the color of my shirt there. So that's kind of an interesting one. Effects. Let's turn the effects on. We got lightning. Color temperature loop. So it's just going to cycle through it. Candle effect. Bad bulb. All the standard stuff you've seen on pretty much any other RGB light. TV. Paparazzi, explosion, pulsing. That's kind of a different one. We don't see that too often. And that's working off color temperature, so we don't have a lot of range on that, but we can change the intensity and the rate of it. Disco, of course, got to have the disco mode. Cop car. Now, watch when I hit start. There we go. Oh, it's not fast enough for the cop cars that we have here. There we go. Make it a little faster, slow it down. Pretty cool. Okay, we'll go back and oops, went too far. Cop car, party, a hue loop. There we go, just looping through different colors. So some pretty cool features there. Pixel effects. This I've been kind of playing with, and I'm not super good at programming one yet. I was trying to do something kind of cool, and I don't think it really turned out as good, so I'm not going to show you. Change the hue. We want it to be a rolling kind of color here. Rainbow. Got to have a rainbow effect. Very, very neat stuff. This block game, it stacks up on one side. Ping pong. Ping pong. So just going to go back and forth. Waves. Meteor. Check the direction. And custom pixels. Well, this is where I've been struggling to do some cool stuff. Not bad, but not as good as I would like. So a lot of cool things that this has going on. I'll just go back to the color temperature. Now, this is not a cheap light. This is $400, $399 to be precise. It's worth it. If you want a big, long light like this for all kinds of different things, for different types of practical lights, for different types of lighting, this is an ideal solution. It puts out good color. Let me actually go back here. And so I've been running this at 5600, kind of right in the middle there, and a nice high intensity. So I got a nice daylight balanced light. You can kind of, if I put it behind me there, you can see how I can light the background. Well, I've had to do some client projects on green screen. Actually, I'm going to turn this way down. And having a big, long light kind of right below me, out of scene, going up on the green screen and lighting it really helps make a nice, perfectly even lighting on that green screen, giving me a much better accuracy when it comes to pulling myself off of the green screen and putting on something else. The better, more evenly lit the green screen is, the better the results are going to be. So if these weren't $400 a piece, I would have 4 of them and have the top, the bottom, and the sides of my green screen all lit with these, just to give the green screen basically perfect lighting. There's a ton of other things that you can do with these, and I'm going to show you some examples of how we're using these for some creative effects. Couldn't show you the customer or the client images, but we'll go out and we're going to shoot this with the Jeep and hopefully create some cool images to kind of give you some ideas of what you can do with like some long exposure shots, some motion shots, some different things that can make using a tube light like this, really worthwhile and get the most out of it. For general lighting, I think it's great. You want, like here, I've got this stack of plants here. To get this evenly lit is actually fairly difficult, you know, if you want it lit evenly from the top to bottom. If I have a light at top, it's going to cast shadows down underneath here. If you want it evenly lit, well, let's pop this back up here. You can see having a light the full size of this stand makes a big difference. You can fill in all the shadows in here because you don't have just one source of light coming in on it. You have a very large light source that can fill in all the shadows. So for those types of applications, I really, really like this type of light. Yes, they're expensive, but this one is aluminum on the outside. It has the mount in the middle. It has 1/4-20s on the end, giving you a ton of different mounting options. The light is very consistent. You don't see LED beads all the way through here, so you get a really soft light source out of here. You can run it on the batteries for quite a while, or you can just plug it into the wall and run it that way. So there's a number of different ways of running the light to make sure that you have enough power to keep it running. And just to be able to like run outside, get some cool shots, being able to have batteries on it just gives you the flexibility to just walk around and experiment. You can't really do that when you're cabled to a wall outlet somewhere. So I really think this was great. And the fact they use standard Sony NPF batteries, which I have a ton of here, that's huge. It just means I don't have to go hunting for batteries or have their proprietary batteries or something else. Everything just works. Now, I'm pretty sure that this rail in here is kind of a standard T-rail type thing. And I bet I could put other types of mounts on here if I wanted, if I had the right pieces in here, or I could undo this one and connect some other type of mounts if I wanted to. Normally I use a big Manfrotto mount on here so it can slide into the biggest tripod I have so that it's not moving at all. But for just some run and gun, have some fun, you can do some really cool stuff with this. So check this out. It is gvmled.com. I will put some links in the description so you can find it easier. This is a fantastic light, and I have been using the crap out of it for a while. The GVM Pro BD45R from Great Video Maker. Really appreciate them sending this out for review. I have just been having an absolute blast trying different things with it. Well, this has been Kerry with Filmmaker Central. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.